Media's Mining Weekly is speaking to Steve Phiri, the CEO of Royal Bafokeng Platinum, which has just published its half-year results that include a 711 million interim dividend payout. Steve, the president came out with a new energy plan last week. It's got two pillars, the one to help Eskom and the other one to really let out the renewable energy. And I was wondering what your feeling was about this energy plan brought out by President Ramaphosa.
And I think the president needs to be applauded with that. Those are the kind of interventions that one requires from a leader like him. When there's a crisis, you need to intervene and intervene decisively. He couldn't have done it better in the circumstances. Freeing up access, freeing up development on green energy, accessing the grid, allowing people to develop and help the power situation in the country, and therefore the economy of the country to start growing and developing further. I think it was a very good plan.
Royal Bafokeng Platinum itself is steadily moving closer towards having its own generation, talking of 98 megawatts of green solar power. Will this also assist on many fronts, besides energy, also fighting inflation?
Definitely. We are just about to reach the end of our feasibility study for our close to 100 megawatts plant, which we're going to source it out to a third party with third-party funding, and we will be consuming the power generated therefrom. The beautiful thing is that we only have to register access into the grid. And I know there are quite a number of projects of this nature in the Rustenburg area where we are operating. And therefore, on the economy of scales part and the cumulative effect of various plants, that will help quite a great deal in alleviating power shortage in the region itself. And that will spur economic development, because you don't want to invest in an area where there is no power, there is no energy, and therefore you don't run a business, with a candle. So it's encouraging.
What sort of percentage will that close to 100 megawatts be of your total power needs?
We're not going to be running the business entirely out of that. It is a buffer in case of load shedding itself. So it will be too little to run the whole operation itself. It won't even run our concentrator plant on 100% all the time, but it will alleviate so that we don't have shutdowns of the concentrator plant. If there is load shedding, the plant will continue running.
It also has this decarbonization effect that will come with it as a benefit. Tell us about your other decarbonization efforts, what you plan to do to protect Mother Nature more and fight against climate change.
Quite a number of things that we are doing, both BRPM, but mostly StelRef, because we're consuming quite a lot of electricity at the site. So it's important that our electricity efficiency has to improve in order to improve our decarbonization, but also our diesel consumption. We are improving that. So there are ongoing projects in that regard.
Here, the H word, hydrogen, and particularly green hydrogen. But when it comes to diesel, cutting diesel, that could also be maybe something in the longer term that you could bring in?
Hydrogen, yes, but not now. It's not in our plans at this stage, particularly that we're still ramping up StelRef to steady state, and that is the main focus at this stage. But once it's at steady stage, we will bring hydrogen in order to gradually eliminate diesel consumption there. And you have seen Anglo Platinum with Mogalakwena bringing hydrogen trucks there. We can only copy from our big brother, big sister.
Talking about stale drift, it appears to me that mechanized mining is not something we really have a legacy on here, and it always proves more challenging. Wherever we introduce it in South Africa, it seems to be more challenging. Why is this so?
It is challenging because it's not very much, it does not have a big footprint in this country. the history of this country is that of conventional mining, and you can just count very, very few mechanized mines in this country. But the ore body also dictates the manner of mechanization, the complexity of mechanization. So the mining method is there, it is known, but it must fit into the ore body itself. And that is where we're finding some challenges. And the other thing that we are seeing quite frequently is availability of engineering skills, especially for the fleets, in order to maintain the fleet themselves. And therefore, that impacts on availability of the fleets themselves. And if you don't have fleet availability at the percentage that you require, then that's going to impact on your hoisting. And therefore, you mine, but you cannot hoist, and therefore you cannot account for that. Oh, so quite a number of things that we are picking up as you're going on. And the turnover of skills also is quite high because of that shortage of the mechanization skills in the country. But we're getting there.
And talking about skills, it's wonderful to see RB Platt wanting to have a test mine where training can take place. Will this only be for training your own people, or is this available to help with training of South African mining as a whole?
No, this is a Nelson Mandela Precinct project in conjunction with us, in collaboration with us. So we have made available Masebe mine, and therefore everyone in the country will be entitled to use that, will have access to that mine to develop the skills.
Will that also have a mechanized mining aspect to it? Will we get some more mechanized skills out of that?
Absolutely. It's actually in the majorities for the mechanized skills and machines, particularly the OEMs who manufacture machines in this country. You can manufacture, but if you don't have a facility where you test the machines and demonstrate the usability of those machines, so they mean nothing because you won't be able to sell them. So that center will help with that.
Still on the education and training front, tell us about the school's legacy that RB Platt is creating. I look at the pictures and I think, wow, I wouldn't mind going to school there. It looks good.
Yeah, I hope you'll be there. We are opening the school on Friday, this coming Friday. It's a wonderful school, a primary school and a secondary school adjacent to each other with wonderful playing fields, extramural activities. That school was built in a record time, I think in 10 months, 11 months time. We, with our own team, project managing that, it's a record time. And we did it in a joint venture, obviously, with the Department of Education, contributing 50% each to the cost of the school. But on the maintenance part, we are still maintaining the school. And we have undertaken to help with the maintenance of the school because we don't want a situation where a beautiful facility is running into decay because of lack of maintenance. And there are many examples of that in this country where roads are constructed. After a year, you don't have a road anymore because people are not maintaining that road. So we will be participating fully in that school to the extent that we possibly can.
You've now got more employees, 11,000 in number. Does that mean that beautiful housing estate of yours has to keep growing?
Well, it depends on the demand. Remember, Martin, many of them already had homes themselves, so they wouldn't just abandon their homes and move into another a bonded house itself. So it depends on the demand. People need houses. Many people have houses, so we would have been happy to have more of that and create a bigger residential area because it's also important for the school.
What, in your view, should be the biggest takeaway from today's presentation, which spoke a lot about inflation as well?
Well, one of the biggest takeaways, Martin, is that we exhibited our newest Black female Chief Financial Officer. That's the first in this company ever since we listed on a stock exchange. And this industry needs quite a number more of procedures, because there is a shortage of gender representation at top executive level of this industry. One of the takeaways is that even though stale drift is giving us nightmares, problems, and what have you, we think we are on top of the problem, and stale drift will come to a steady state. We can see the mining footprint is there. All the right things are being done or have been done. It's just a matter of hitting that spot, and we are confident we are there. Another takeaway is the absolutely wonderful performance of BRPM on continuous basis. They have shot the lights out. They continuously exceed plan, and we are proud of those young guys at BRPM. So this company is in right hands in the form of our operating management team on the mine, notwithstanding the challenges that we experience in a difficult operating environment at this stage, and more caused by the consternation regarding the corporate action. You can understand when you don't know who your boss is going to be in the near future, that tends to confuse you and create uncertainty in your mind. But the loyalty, the commitment we have seen, in the team is amazing.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly, speaking to Steve Phiri, the CEO of Royal Bafokeng Platinum.